Happy Monday, everyone. Just a quick notice. I made some foolish moves on my recordings on this next episode, and the audio from my voice will sound a little bit odd and a little bit roomy, so I'm really, really sorry about that. But don't worry, Biz still sounds seductive and sultry, so you're going to enjoy yourselves. Just giving you a little heads up. Thank you so much, and enjoy the show.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, guys.
It's our 10th episode.
Gosh, have we got to 10?
10 episodes.
That's
man.
big.
Huge.
That is big.
I'm really proud of us.
Yeah.
10 episodes is a big one, so we're going to do something a little bit more specific than a very specific topic. So first of all, if you didn't already know, we're going to jump straight in.
Let's do it.
If you didn't already know, the PlayStation 5 reveal has happened. We're here. The spaceship has landed in every sense of the word.
Yep.
I liked it.
It feels good.
I liked it.
Oh wait, I sense a little bit of restraint.
It's polarizing, this thing. It's really like...
Yeah, I can see why.
I've got people that have messaged me saying that the event was a giant waste of time, that it wasn't really...
Wow.
It didn't really show anything new. They were saying the future of gaming, but it's not really the future. My argument to that is I don't really know what they were expecting. It's a case of these games were made over the last few years using technology that's current. They're not going to have current technology stuff showing new things.
Yeah, no,
and
exactly.
We're not going to see. Yeah, we're not going to see new developments or Unreal Engine 5 stuff for a year or 2 years or so. Yeah. So of course they're only going to show you the things they had in the pipeline now.
Yeah, no, exactly. The fires aren't really going to start burning for a couple of years yet.
Right. And people were upset that they were using the term, people were disappointed that the term future of gaming was there. But it's all just, gas. Yeah. It's, this is the future of gaming, the evolution of gaming, the next step. It was never going to be those things. I think if people allowed themselves to get hype and then expect... God knows what. Like, I don't know what you would expect that would blow your mind. You're going to get more of the same in terms of the games anyway.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I went into that event just not wanting anything specific per se. I knew what they were going to do at the end, which they did, and I was completely cool with that. But for everything else, I was like, okay, fine, just show me. Yeah. And it was funny because I was speaking to a mate of mine. We were WhatsApping as we were watching it, and he was saying to me, "Dude, it's 30 minutes into this thing. If they don't show me something good soon, I'm going." I was like, "Mate, just calm down. Like, they're gonna give us something."
There's definitely a sense of entitlement to There's definitely this sense of like, I expect you to wow me. Yeah. Instead of like, okay, what have you got? Yeah. Yeah, people are going into it now very expectant and very... Yeah. And like I said, if you don't... I mean, it does come down to no one's forcing you to buy this stuff.
No, exactly.
I mean, this could be controversial, but it's like...
It's your choice at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, if they don't impress you, then that's cool. But I think it's... If you're going in expected to be blown away, then I think you're going to be disappointed regardless.
Exactly.
So yeah, this event was cool. The games were good, and I agree with some of the criticism in that nothing looked, necessarily
like super next gen.
Super next gen. But again, we're going back to no one's using Unreal Engine 5 yet. Yeah, we're not going to see huge changes to the graphic structure now.
Exactly.
Sony just want to make sure that, hey, look at the games that are on PS5 that you can only get on PS5, and if you want to play these games, you have to get a PS5. That's all it was. That whole thing was. It just felt like.
Do you feel as though it was a little bit of bullying there? Just a little bit of railroading.
Yeah, a little bit. But it was just a thing of, it wasn't supposed to be. They say the future of gaming, and actually, you know what? They're not actually that wrong. This is the future of gaming. If you don't buy a PS5, stay where you're at.
That's your business.
You're not moving forward.
Yeah.
And if you don't like that, then that's stay where you're at. Stop moving forward.
That's it.
These are the games that are going to be on the PS5. If you want to play these games, join us.
Yeah. And considering leading up to this event as well, I mean, we've had all and sundry of The Last of Us media and advertisement and stuff like that. We've seen Ghost of Tsushima, which both look equally as impressive as each other anyway. So by the time this event rolls round, like I say, for me, I wasn't expecting... Like, I've had my big pieces. Yeah. I know what I'm looking forward to. and there was only one more that I wanted to see at the event, and they showed it to me, and I was like, fine,
cool,
I'm good with that.
I just wanted the confirmation. I was like, just show me what it looks like. Show me some cool games. I don't mind if they're from Kickstarter. I don't mind if they're indie. I don't mind if they're AAA. I understand the criticisms of some, but at the end of the day, like, just show me what the console looks like and what I can expect, the kind of games you're gonna put on for it. And I feel like that wasn't that disappointing.
No, it wasn't.
There was a bit of kind of not controversy. There was a bit of confusion regarding Spider-Man Miles Morales.
I mean,
which was a little touchy, a little bit cheeky.
Yeah, I can warrant the confusion. I can warrant the polarization of that, because it is a bit. That was stealthy.
It was a little bit cheeky, because there was at no point was it made clear, and maybe they didn't need to, I suppose, but
maybe they're just plain give a fuck. They were just, like, you're gonna buy it, so why are we arguing?
So the complication or the confusion here was that everyone is expecting this to be the sequel, and some people are saying this feels more like a 1.5.
Yeah.
And it was an expansion, and then one of the execs from Sony, said something along the lines of, "This is kind of an expansion,
right?
It's an add-on."
Okay.
And everyone kind of went, "Oh, well, that's a bit cheeky. That's kind of weird." And now Insomniac Games have actually come up and said Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales, is the next adventure in the Marvel Spider-Man universe. We will reveal more about this standalone game at a future date, which suggests to me it's more like an Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Right.
It's a standalone game. You don't need the original to play it.
Yeah.
But it won't be as big as the original, but it won't be as big as the sequel. So it will be a decent sized game.
Right.
But it will be maybe £25 instead of 40 to 50 to 60 pounds that you'd expect from a full-time game.
I can't help but feel it looked, from the cinematics that we saw, it looked nice. It didn't look far removed from the previous game.
Right.
And I can't help but feel that if they wanted to, they could release that on the PS4.
Well, there's nothing to say that they're not.
That's true. I mean, no news is good news, right? They haven't said either way. But to drop that on the PS5 event explicitly, is a bit like,
yeah. I mean,
I love you, Sony, but you're bullying me a little bit. Like,
like, if you want these games, buy our PlayStation. And I mean, props. You got to say, all right. And if people don't like it, then all right.
I hear that. Can I just quickly ask you, was there any game there specifically that you were chomping at the bit for?
Resi 8.
Standard.
Resi 8. Resident Evil Village.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 8 Village. 100%. That was the game I was like, if they show this to me, I'm cool. I'm calm. There was some cool stuff that I saw, but I lost my mind when Resi 8 came up.
Right.
And I'm not bothered about. I mean, it looks great. The RE engine's amazing. It does look amazing.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind if it wasn't, because the concept and the setting and the location and Chris in it and Ethan and the voice acting was made. All of it looked like it was made for me. Yeah. Like it was made survival horror, with a little extra horror, and it felt gothic European. Edgy kind of stuff. I'm not confirming that's what it was, but it felt that way to me.
Yeah.
And I was all in.
They were saying in there, because they had, I think it was on IGN. They had two of the developers there actually talking about, just giving like a little 3-minute piece on what they showed at the PS5 event, and they did say that it was going to lean more a little bit into action this time round.
The Village one?
Village, yeah.
Interesting.
Which it did make me sit back a little bit, because I thought to myself, this is kind of what happened. This is kind of what happened with the previous Resis. It started off as horror, and then it just took a slow trajectory into
Resident Evil territory,
into guns blazing territory. And I don't want to, because they created such a good thing with Resi 7 in just reinvigorating the genre and just kind of reinventing it, still with the Resident Evil flavor, with everything that but just having that real core roots horror vibe. But then it goes back into what we were saying before, like about 6 episodes ago, with how we like to deal with horror in our gaming. Yeah. So I can't help but feel like it might sway towards your direction more.
Maybe.
Do you see what I'm getting at?
I mean, it feels like Resi 6 was a car crash, in my opinion. And I feel like coming from that and going into Resi 7 was such an amazing about face, and it was such an amazing change.
Yeah.
And they're now realizing that, we can clearly tap into classic horror tropes and not have it feel tropey. And use those things as almost like a nostalgic gift.
Yes.
Or give a nostalgic foundation on which they build a Resident Evil franchise. And I feel like if they keep using the RE engine, which they will, and they keep doing this kind of new age look at how Resident Evil should be, it's going to be cool. I just hope that we can kind of get back to some sort of overarching story.
Yes, yeah.
I felt like 7 was kind of like its own thing until right at the end when Chris shows up and you're like, okay, this is a Resi game, but... I'm hoping that they can bring it back. Even if it's just like a new chapter starts in 7.
Yeah.
And 8 is the continuation of that story.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that we can get a bit more of like, an overarching story back that makes you go, oh yeah, because in 7, So, I'm kind of hoping we can go in that direction. But that was the game. That for me, I lost my mind.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great shout.
For me, it was Horizon.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say Horizon.
It was blatant. It was always going to be Horizon. I was saying to my friend, just hold out to the end. They're going to show Horizon. There's no reason why they shouldn't.
No, that was their crowning glory, wasn't it?
And it looked great. It looked great. It was good seeing Aloy and Silence. Again, just some new creatures as well that they've introduced to the world. Obviously some new dynamics with the underwater bit, and she's swimming underneath the snaps more, I think it is.
Yeah.
I was thinking, wow, they're really expanding this. They're going bigger with this. I'm excited. I can't wait for it.
I mean, it did look great. Horizon was a great, original concept from Guerrilla Games.
Yeah.
After Killzone, and they've got themselves a real kind of. I can't remember where I heard it, but someone said, this is Sony's Breath of the Wild. This is Sony's Zelda.
Right.
And you get that vibe, and it's great. And Aloy's such a strong lead character.
She's a great character.
The new concept looks amazing. The new location in San Francisco. Yeah. The underwater moments now. The desert concept.
Yeah.
You've seen elephant robots in there and giant snap turtle beast things. I mean, it looks amazing, and I'm really pumped for it. I hope that when it comes out on the PS5, we do see an element of like, holy shit, this has been turned up.
Right? Yeah.
You
don't want it to just be an add-on. Essentially, I don't want more of the same thing.
Yeah, I don't want more of the same, and I hope that to look at it does have more of a this is the PS5 flexing a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, and load times are gone, and we see some more landscape stuff, and it just show me something. I'm not asking for the world. I'm not asking it to blow my mind, but just let me see some clear changes.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But the story's got to be tight as well.
I'm not worried about that.
No.
My only criticism of the original was that the side quests got a little bit dry, and I'm hoping that the side quests are a little deeper in the sequel.
Okay.
That was it. I mean, so that was that. So Horizon was yours.
That was my jam. That was my jam on toast. Easily.
Everything else was kind of obvious, really. Godfall, the trailer for Godfall was terrible. The music choice was poor. The game looks great, but just a weird trailer.
Yeah.
Ghostwire Tokyo, interesting.
That was the first person one, right? With the
that element, a little bit VR-y as well.
That had VR written all over it, I think.
Project Atheist, Squeenix's new stuff.
I mean, let's be honest. I was thoroughly impressed with the way it looked.
Yeah, we ain't seeing that game for dust.
But we're not going to see it. It's not going to happen. Between the multi-layered ambiguity that is Final Fantasy VII
You've got a
remake.
problem with this, don't you?
Yeah, me?
Yeah,
what do you mean?
No, because isn't it you were saying that it's like Oh, no. Sorry, I stand corrected. Capcom are the ones that you've got a problem with at the moment. In terms of... So what we're talking about was Pragmata, right?
Pragmata.
So Pragmata comes out.
Yeah.
And they announced Pragmata. Pragmata. That comes out in what? Didn't have a release date. So probably 20... Or if it did, it was 2021.
Probably 2021.
2021. Sorry, I wrote it down. So Pragmata was a Capcom game. Very Hideo Kojima-y kind of look.
Yeah.
Comes out 2021.
Yeah.
So I remember you saying that the issue is that between that, Street Fighter Season 5 and Street Fighter 6...
Yeah.
And Resi.
Yeah.
And something else.
Oh, God, what was it? I can't remember. Well, they're remaking Resident Evil 4.
Oh, and Resident 4, right.
Yeah. And I think I said to you, this is how I know for sure Street Fighter 6 is going to be shit.
Oh, that's right.
It's going to be shit.
Right,
and all they're going to do, like... Oh, I'm getting in my box now. But
Great content.
All they're going to do is just grab their old assets, probably give them a little bit of a UHD facelift. Yeah. And just stick on some skins. They're going to up-res. They're going to do a dirty up-res.
It's just a dirty up-res.
Yeah.
I think it's not going to be...
On their sprites. And,
I mean, they need to make a new ground-up...
Yeah.
Totally different look.
They do.
Street Fighter. They can't do this anymore.
It's such a paint by numbers thing with Street Fighter, and not to go too much into it, but I feel like they know that, and you know, they just say to themselves, we can just put anything out and people are going to buy it, because people will. And, you know, I'm probably going to play it and I'm going to cuss at it while I'm playing it.
Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, while I've handed over my 50 quid or whatever. I'm going to be bitching because I know it's going to be whack.
You're really confident about that, aren't you?
I'm mate.
Because I see Guilty Gear and they've just released Ram Lethal Valentine. They've just released the trailer for that.
Yeah.
And it looks great, man.
Yeah, it does.
It looks great, and I'm itching to start a new episode, you know, on YouTube of how not to play Guilty Gear.
Yeah.
But it looks great, and I want to do it. Street Fighter is out of some weird, morbid loyalty, where I'm like, all right, as long as you release Alex and Sakura, and then all right, cool, I'm in. But but it's reluctant. It's like
it's reluctant, and you know, as much as I rag on it, I want it to do well, and I want them to surprise me, and I want them to not wow me, but I want them to show me, all right, okay, we've listened to you guys, and we're starting to give a shit now. You know? But anyway, we'll see.
So anyway, so that's that, and then there was a few other games that came out, like Ken and Bridge of Spirits, which looked like a really nice kind of like a light adventure game, which was really cool. Mm-hmm. Returnal was that sci-fi.
Returnal looked really good
with the crash die repeat thing.
Yeah.
That looked really cool. Sci-fi horror.
Ratchet and Clank. That looked fun.
Yeah, what's that? Bridge? What was it called? Something Apart. That was cool. Rift Apart. That looked really good.
Yeah,
nice concept. Not for me. I'm not a big cartoony.
Neither am I. I mean, I haven't really been that way for a long time, and I haven't ever played. Well, yeah, since Crash, and I've never played a Ratchet and Clank.
Neither.
Have you not?
No.
Oh man.
Neither. I mean, we're going back in the day where I was playing like Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong and you know, those kind of games. I never really touched on Ratchet and Clank. Like I said, it looks great, but it's maybe not for me.
Okay.
Demon's Souls are getting a remake. I can't, you know, as much as I wish From Software loved me.
you just don't get on with those games, do you?
I'm just not good enough. I'm just not.
Oh, dude.
I don't have the patience of the love or the will.
Oh man.
To do that. So, you know, the biggest question is, what did you think of the design of the PlayStation 5?
What did I think of the design? I'll tell you, the first thought that popped into my head when I saw the design was, can I lay it flat?
That was the first question I asked. And yes, you can. Yeah, they
can I lay it flat?
Sony did release an image of it on its side.
Right.
And apparently, you know, people have been trying to figure out how big it is in comparison to everything else.
Yeah.
And apparently it's like a good few inches bigger than everything else. Height-wise and length-wise, you know.
Oh my gosh.
If it's on its side, if it's on its end.
Yeah.
You know, apparently it's got some kick. It's a lot bigger than like what an Xbox 360 would be.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's huge.
Holy cow. I mean, the memes have been great, haven't they?
Quick.
Really fast. Within hours.
Like, 20 minutes. I see people poised on Photoshop ready to rock. I was like, this is crazy. So did you like it?
Yeah. I mean, it was it's futuristic, but I think I said this to you before. It's futuristic in the sense that it's an interpretation of what futuristic would have looked like 20 years ago, if that makes sense. So if I imagined me 20 years ago, what futuristic would look like, it would be this. So it's kind of retro futuristic in a way.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
You know,
I mean, I didn't think of it like that until you said it.
Yeah.
And now I think of it that way. I'm not sure,
but it does look nice, and I do like the control pad design as
controller
well.
looks great. Controller looks really cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm not sure about the Batman is sweeping thing, and I'm certainly not a fan of the white.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have a real problem. No, that's too much. I don't have a real problem with it. I'm just not a fan. It's one of those things that's like...
Kind of reminds you of the old Skybox.
Right. It does.
Yeah.
Wow. It's... A white controller won't work for me. And I just think the white on the outside just feels a little... It feels off. Like, I think but that's just my own association, where PlayStation has always been this stealth bomber black.
Right.
Other than PlayStation.
Yeah.
And of course, going in a new direction and having it be white and different is amazing. Like, I have no complaints about it. It's just not for me.
Do you feel it's a bit showy or a bit too... Are they trying a bit too hard, do you reckon? Or...
No, I feel like... No, I don't think they're trying too hard. They have to be pretty courageous.
Yeah.
With their design at this point. You know, you look at Xbox with their mini fridge and the thing. I actually really like the look of the Series X, the Xbox.
Yeah.
That kind of black box thing. I really enjoyed that design. I thought it was quite sleek and quite kind of here it is.
Okay.
Whereas this feels a little bit more showy, a little bit more frou-frou, a little bit more kind of like, I don't know, it's got this weird vibe to it. So I hope it comes in black.
Yeah.
And I hope that I can fit it under my TV.
Oh, man.
Do you know what I mean? And
good luck. Here's hoping.
Yeah. But I'm loving the wireless charging. I'm loving the USB-C port. I'm loving the look of how it's going to move forward and the haptic controllers and everything like that. I mean, it's just going to be such an incredible experience.
Yeah.
Because you remember when the PS4 came out and everyone lost, there was some serious mind losing. And then we got used to it. We kind of took it for granted and was like, well, yeah, this is what it is. And
this is what it is, yeah. But the thing is, though, we were all immediately confident that we could lay it flat.
Yeah, that's true.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true.
So,
I mean, I like it. I just think if it comes in all black, that would be great. I have like I said, I have no real problems with it. I went in with quite low expectations.
Yeah.
Not in the way of like, oh, this is going to be shit, but just like, I don't know. I don't expect them to be able to really show much.
You're talking about the event as a whole.
The event as a whole,
yeah.
And the PlayStation itself. Like, my expectations were fairly low. I just didn't know what they could show me.
And I think that was a sound place to be. Because it's hard to imagine in a way what they could wow you with if they wanted to. But I think they're saving that stuff. That stuff is going to come later. It's
way down the road. And like I said, there were people that were criticizing, saying, oh, it was a waste of time, and I should have looked halfway through, and they didn't show me anything new, and why did they use the time for gaming? I was like, and I kept asking the question, I was like, well, what did you expect? Like, you went in with your expectations so high, like in such an aggressive manner.
Yeah.
You know that thing where someone stands in front of you, the arm cross, going, "Yeah, show me in it."
Yeah.
And you're like, well, no, because instantly you're gonna wanna shoot it down because it's physically not gonna be able to hit your expectations.
Exactly.
And that's a shame. It is a shame. It's a shame. So, anyway,
I got to I just want to say, I got to the end of this event now, and I couldn't help but say to myself, poor Xbox.
In comparison to their event?
It was shocking.
Yeah.
I genuinely felt bad for them after watching the PS5 event.
I did. I mean, they haven't done their first play game, their games. First party gaming. They haven't done that yet. So they might come correct with that.
We'll see.
And I think that...
Go on, say it.
Sony came into this looking at the PlayStation like a luxury brand.
Yes.
With the animations in between all the clips.
Yeah.
the way they were shooting their developers and stuff. They came at it like a luxury brand, and they did the best that they could to make it feel sexy, to make it feel kind of like classy.
Yeah.
And I feel like the design of the PlayStation kind of reflected that. I don't think they entirely hit the mark on the head with it, but Xbox was like Zoom calls, it's here's gameplay, there's no gameplay.
Yeah.
People, you just didn't get
Dodgy
the vibe that these people were like played a lot of games.
Yeah, that's it.
Not to say they didn't, but the vibe wasn't there.
Yeah, you didn't really feel the want or the love, or you just didn't come across.
No, and their lineup of games that they showed were just so uninteresting. That it just fell short, and I did feel like, wow, like even though like PlayStation did their lineup was great, and that they revealed the console, it really did make Xbox look a little bit silly. And I'm hoping that Microsoft get their shit together and kind of regroup.
They need to.
And figure this out, and don't use Zoom. I get the pandemic's on, but if Sony have done it,
they've proven it.
And if you yesterday they had the Future Gaming show on.
They did,
and that was Nolan North and Emily Rose were presenting from their homes, but it was all animated. It was like just exclusive, world exclusive. They did it in a way that made it feel as much as they could. Like a show. Whereas, the Xbox event just felt off. It just didn't work. I was saying that I did watch the PC Gamer event yesterday.
Oh yeah, I caught a little bit.
That was about 90 minutes too long.
What?
It felt long. I mean, the PlayStation one was what, an hour?
Yeah.
This was 2 hours, just over 2 hours. 50 games. Interviewing developers, and sometimes it did just felt like they were just grabbing any and all games they could find and being like, let's stick that in their list. I mean, I wrote down games that I was interested in as opposed to like in love with, and I walked away with about 10.
Okay, that's a respectable number.
Which is a decent number, but out of 50,
I mean, when you measure it up,
and it was just a bit like, okay, and it was a weird format. So that felt a bit off. I'm interested to see because EA's got theirs coming up pretty soon. Yeah. Their state of play. So we'll see, and hopefully they'll change it up again. I can't imagine how hard it must be right now for these guys, these corporate.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to everyone involved, I mean, well done for putting on the shows anyway. Obviously we're in really precarious times at the moment, so to be able to still get these things out there.
They're doing it. I mean, like
at least they're
supposed
still
to be
doing
right
it.
now. It's supposed to be a big show, and they've got stages and stuff. So instead, they're doing it themselves. I mean, the fact that they've done this and they're getting the hits themselves, it could change the face of game reveals.
It could
in the future. Not paying for a booth, not paying for a stage. And just doing it their own way, isn't an impossible dream. And if they get millions of views, they're getting paid.
Hear that.
So that was kind of where I stood on the whole thing with the three events that were on, which was PS5 reveal event, PC Gamer, and Future Gaming. Not an incredibly large amount of like wow moments. Resi 8 got me, Miles Morales got me, and Horizon. Yeah. And then on the PC formats, I mean, it was even less. Like there wasn't even, like I said, I wrote down 10 that I was like, maybe. But let's have a look. Yeah, like Torchlight 3 was coming out, which was cool. Little kind of asymmetric RPG a la Torchlight 1 and 2 and Diablo, that kind of style. Yeah. Troy Total War, which this is a fun fact. Epic are releasing this. So Creative Assembly make these games, right? Right. And they're putting it out. And on the day of release for 24 hours, the game will be free.
What?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So they're saying that if you pick it up day it comes out. Yeah. I wrote it down. I think it's August 13th. I'll put it on the Instagram. If you get it the day it releases from the Epic Games Store, it'll be free.
That is awesome.
So set your alarms. Like I said, check our Instagram.
Wow, that is a really good touch.
And we'll go from there. That just came to me. I just remembered that. But there were some cool looking games, some like a lot of indie stuff. You know, I love the indie world. They do some really cool stuff. The guys that did No Man's Sky they dropped a trailer for their new game, The Last Campfire, that was showed on PC Gamer. Yeah, it was alright. It was okay.
Okay.
It was, you know, like I said, nothing crushed.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing too wowy.
Nothing too wowy.
Yeah.
And like I said, the PlayStation looks good. I'm obviously gonna get one.
Day one release, yeah.
Maybe a pre-order.
Wow, dude.
Maybe we'll see. Because they're saying it's going two ways now, right? You know, the pandemic is meaning that they can't make as many as they would like. And the other side is people like us who, you know, we can't afford it right now because those purse strings are tight.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
With the pandemic really has put us in this situation. But if I can, I want to pick one as soon as possible. Anyway,
all right.
So that's kind of a 30-minute long, if you didn't already know. And now we're going to talk about our games, the games that are near and dear to us. On our 10th, I don't say anniversary because it's not. On our 10th episode celebration, we're going to talk about 5 games each, 10 in total, that we feel are our favorite games, that changed us.
Yes.
That brought us put gaming in our hearts.
Yeah.
Now they can be from any console. They can be from any era. And it's about what is personal to you.
Bring it. I'm ready.
All right, you go first.
Oh, cheers. Right, so do you want me to do all of my 5? Just all of my 5, or do you want to trade?
How would you like to do it?
I tell you what, I'll do all of my 5.
Do all of your 5.
But first, I'm going to start with a little pre and just say.
I thought you were going to say I'm going to start with a little poem. I was like, don't do that.
Now, some of you out there who know me well, you're gonna think that Street Fighter. He's obviously gonna say Street Fighter.
Yeah, I'm one of them people.
It's gonna be Resident Evil. I'm telling you, those two didn't make the list.
But you did say that Resident Evil was your favorite franchise.
Yes, I did say it was my favorite franchise. But if we're saying what is our favorite game,
different.
It's different for me. So it's the same reason I can't say Street Fighter, because then I would have to think, okay, was it Capcom versus SNK 2, or was it Alpha 2 or Alpha 3, or was it...
You started speaking in tongues to me.
Do you know what I mean? So that's why I couldn't really... Those IPs, they're on a different...
We could do a little, top 5 fighting games.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to do that. To just kind of clarify that at a later date, yeah.
Wow, SNK.
Mate.
The versus, that was...
I can talk about that game forever, but now...
That's another time. Okay, so we're going to talk about 5 games. So let me just set this up for you. So 5 games that are near and dear to your heart. Yeah. It's not Street Fighter or Resi.
Not Street Fighter or Resi.
So the people that know you don't know you at all.
You thought you knew me?
Allegedly. So controversial.
It is highly controversial.
So go on, hit us with number 1.
Right.
Are we going in reverse order or in no particular order?
I don't have a particular order.
Fine, so let's just go with number 1.
I'm just gonna rail them out, right? So the first one. Now, bearing in mind that when you approached me with this idea, 3 popped into my mind straight away. I didn't even have to blink before they were there. Wow. Right?
Okay.
Because they sit in my heart like that.
Sure.
And then the 2 more I had to give a little bit of extra thought to. But
anyway,
meditation. But anyway, the first one I'm going to mention.
Yeah.
Nintendo 1998.
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers 3.
Crushed it. I said that literally an hour ago. I said Super Mario Brothers 3.
Super Mario Brothers 3. Was it 98 or I feel as though that may have been earlier, but we may need to double check that.
Yeah.
But for me, like Super Mario Brothers 1 was a great game, and it was the warm up, and it was an addictive warm up as well, right?
Right.
Super Mario Brothers 2, not so much. Super Mario Brothers 3 was
1988.
1988, not 1998. Yeah, I thought that was a bit funny. Super Mario Brothers 3. It was bright. It was colourful. Impressive sprite design, level design, and it was the first game that I had played that had a massive interconnected world. I mean, granted, you could technically say that about Super Mario Brothers 1.
Yeah.
But it was just the fact that, you know, you had all these maps that could open up for you, and, you know, you go down certain warp zones or other portals and stuff like that, and you just end up elsewhere. And I think there were about 8 maps in total.
Okay.
And you didn't have to do all of them. You could just pick a particular route.
Yeah.
So in that sense, this is where the longevity and replayability aspects come into it for me.
Sure.
It kept me going back. And I loved every second of it. I loved the fact that you know, they gave Mario a raccoon tail so he could fly.
So this is actually, not to interrupt you.
Yeah.
The raccoon tail thing where he could fly.
Yeah.
Is it a raccoon or is it, what are they called?
I was thought it was a raccoon.
Those things that could, you know, the ones that can
right, with the
gliding things.
Yeah, they kind of look like gliders.
What are they called?
I don't know what those are called.
Wow. Yeah, with the same tail and ears.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be a raccoon, or are we just for years assuming that, and it's actually one of those things that
Mandela effect?
Maybe, but it's actually the little, you know, the little thing, you know, the bugs.
Yeah, no, I know exactly which ones you mean. Yeah,
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is that
It could be that, you know. It could easily be that.
I can't think what they're called.
Oh, man.
Anyway, sorry.
Someone's going to have to let us know in the comments or something like that on the YouTube or Instagram. But yeah, I mean, that game for me was the top of the bell curve as far as Mario Brothers was concerned. I mean, you had Super Mario Brothers World, which came out on the Super Nintendo. And then you had Super Mario 64, I think.
Yeah.
Which were good. But for me, Mario Brothers 3 all the way. I could play that now, and I would have so much fun doing it.
Oh, it's a classic.
It's a classic game, and it was just such an honest trajectory for Mario to get to that point. It was like, it was a crowning moment.
Yeah.
For me, it was a crowning moment in the Mario franchise. It was a great game.
Yeah, that was a good game. That was a really fun time. The music for that was amazing as well.
Yeah, and do you remember the film The Wizard? Not to go on too much of a divergent.
No.
The Wizard with Andy Savage, I believe, and he had a little brother or something like that who was a genius at games. Basically, he was very, very socially awkward, but he was a genius at games, and his whole thing was
a movie.
Yeah, it was a movie called The Wizard, and his whole thing was to get to.
Yeah, it's Fred Savage.
Fred Savage, not Andy Savage.
1989.
Who's Andy Savage? That's Boy Meets World, isn't it? I think that's his brother.
So it says Jimmy, Luke Edwards, is put in a mental institution.
Yeah.
Corey, Fred Savage, breaks him out, and the pair run off together to California on their travels.
Yeah.
Corey meets a girl named Haley.
Yep.
And discovers that Jimmy is a master at playing video games.
Yeah. And he made his way. I mean, spoilers, but I mean, if you haven't seen this film by now,
you ain't gonna watch it.
But he gets in a championship, and the last game he has to play is Super Mario Brothers 3, man. So,
is it really?
It is, yeah. So
wow.
Yeah, it's that game was huge. It was huge.
Okay, so next one.
Right, so the next one for me.
Why are you looking at me like you're gonna be embarrassed?
I think I am a little bit, but I don't know. 2003, Nintendo again.
Wow, really getting down the Nintendo route.
You can tell there was a time where I had a lot of love for Nintendo.
Hey, yeah, don't
you know what I mean? They were my boys, but they just won't move with the times. But that's another conversation. Mario Kart Double Dash.
Double Dash. That is controversial.
Why?
Double Dash was, I don't know. Usually it's just the Mario Karts.
Yeah.
The standards, you know, like this is classic Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Double Dash was one of those that was like, it tried to change the mechanics a little bit.
Not too much. A little bit, but they for me they did it successfully. And again, it's the. Is
this your favorite game?
It's one of, yeah, easily. It was something that I kept going back to. I mean, it's a multiplayer game essentially.
Yeah.
But I used to play that game by myself as well because I wanted to be good at it. I wanted to complete all the cups and.
Well, yeah. I mean, any of those games you can play with yourself, and it's great.
Yeah. And again, Mario Kart number 1 on the Super Nintendo.
SNES.
SNES. Again, great game. Highly addictive.
Yeah.
And then Mario Kart 64 was after that. And it felt, for me, in a way like Mario Brothers number 2. It just didn't there was just something that was missing from it.
Right.
And then Mario Kart Double Dash came out.
Double Dash. I was not expecting this.
It cranked it up to the nth for me. Like, the speed was on point. The fact that you could choose 2 characters on one kart, and they both had their own technical abilities as well. And the car had technical abilities as well, depending on how you wanted to drive. And it was just a really involving experience. And I had too much fun playing the game.
That.
I lost a lot
of
hours.
Not expecting that. This is nice. Controversial.
Yeah. And then, it was awesome, man.
Okay. All right.
Right. Third one.
Yeah.
Now, this game, right, I'm going to give you a little bit of...
We're so different. Our games are so different.
So, round about... I don't know if you remember the Spectrum ZX. The ZX Spectrum. This is old school.
No.
On there, I played a game called Saboteur. Saboteur is basically you play like a ninja, and you basically have to sneak around disarming bombs and sneaking up to enemies and just doing away with them. So it's kind of tactical espionage.
Kind of like Tenju Stealth Assassin.
Yeah. So then that was that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome game. Didn't play anything else like it until a certain game came out in 1998 by Hideo Kojima and Konami.
Oh, man, yeah, I should have known better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Metal
Gear Solid.
You're
right?
looking at me like, oh, you chief.
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
It was Metal Gear Solid.
To be fair, that game's boss.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
It was very, very technically astute. It knew how it wanted you to play, but at the same time still gave you the freedom to play how you wanted to, in a sense.
Yeah, I mean that game was so. When I was a kid playing that, the idea of playing someone like Psycho Mantis and and it took the game and made it physical, not just software based. Exactly. That idea of he's trying to read your mind, and if you use a turbo controller, he'll know.
Yeah.
But when you fight him, you swap controllers from port 1 to port 2, and then he can't read your mind.
Yes, exactly.
Stuff like that was so...
It changed gaming.
On point.
It changed gaming. That was the first game I'd ever played that broke the 4-4. It mashed up the 4-4 for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And I remember I was having a conversation with a couple of friends of mine after playing that game, and he was saying... games feel shit now. Like I feel like Metal Gear has just ruined gaming, and in a sense it did, because I remember after I completed Metal Gear, I went onto a game called Siphon Filter. I don't know if you remember that.
I really enjoyed Siphon Filter.
Siphon Filter was fun, and it had a reasonably cool multiplayer aspect to it. But I realized I was looking for Metal Gear Solid and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, they're very
know what I
games.
mean?
Yeah. Siphon Filter was great.
But yeah, man, Metal Gear. It ticked a lot of boxes.
It's up there.
It's huge up there.
Yeah, I mean, there were some great moments in that, like the idea of you constantly calling someone and then they just stop talking to you because you call them too much.
Yeah.
Psycho Mantis, was it Sniper Wolf?
Sniper Wolf. The back of the CD case.
That whole thing. It was great.
I mean, come on, man. Like, tell me that when you worked that one out, you were like, oh my god, what
the actual CD case. Yeah, and it just forced you to look elsewhere. Yeah. And that was really cool.
It was clever. It was really clever for its time.
I mean, they kind of stepped away from that though, unfortunately.
They did. I mean, it was almost like a one trick.
One and done.
Yeah.
Yeah, one and done.
You know, no one had done it. No one's really going to do it again.
No.
So yeah, I've got to hold it in.
I respect that. That's a really good one.
Yeah. All right. I feel like I'm rambling now.
Go on. So this is number 4.
This is number 4 now. This is a bit of an obvious one. But you know, it's huge story building, huge world building.
Final 7.
No.
Ooh.
The Witcher 3 did it was huge story building, huge world building, really involving characters. The fact that you could talk to other people that had played the game, but everybody could have a different experience of it.
Yeah, 100%.
It was really, really cool. It was good. You know, it had a really honest like fight system, with their melees and magic system as well. It was just a really, really well thought out game. Really, really well put together. There was just so much world to explore in there, and that's even before they turned around and gave you DLCs for the thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You already had like such a full experience. It was yeah, man. It was almost a perfect game.
Almost perfect. Almost. Okay. So and the fifth and final.
Well, you kind of already said it.
Final Fantasy 7.
Final Fantasy 7.
Hands down.
It had to be.
It
had to be. I mean, turn-based, semi-open world, action fantasy, included a lot of characters with their own stories, each with their own tactical abilities. Each could learn and master magic, and it was one of those games for me that, I mean, granted, before that I did try playing Zelda.
Very different.
Are they?
They're very different.
Yeah, I suppose
Zelda isn't turn-based.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, true. But I guess I'm putting it under that sort of fantasy-esque umbrella in a sense. And
okay.
And even though I got reasonably far in Zelda, I didn't feel compelled to finish it. Whereas Final Fantasy, the moment I started playing it,
you wanted to know.
I wanted to know.
That makes sense.
I wanted to know. So for me, that was, yeah. That was my jam.
Any honorable mentions?
Any honorable mentions? Oof. Wow. Let me see. I mean, I could say that. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn is way up there as well.
Really?
It is up there. And it is a game that I will go back to once I've dealt with all of my.
Yeah, that would be cool to go back and play that game.
Yeah, with all of my other stuff. You know, that's a game that deserves its spot as an honorable mention. I could say the same thing for Resident Evil 7. I mean, I know, to be fair, we've kind of talked about it a little while ago, but those were, I mean, Resident Evil 7, it reinvented its own genre in a sense.
It did. But like I said, we said before, it took everything that made horror great and used it as a foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just built their version of what they think that horror is on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I could say Devil May Cry, the first Devil May Cry.
See, I'm a DMC3 fan.
Yeah.
Big Devil May Cry 3 fan. That was amazing. It was huge. Yeah, I was a big 3 fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like I could go on forever.
We're just going to turn it into a top 10.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. All right, well, let me try and think. So I'll go.
Mm-hmm.
Very different lists.
Yeah. I figured they might be.
2 of them are the same, so I'll get those out of the way. So the first one for me is obviously The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
The Witcher 3 was the first example of a game that felt like they'd taken Gothic, European horror elements and folklore and turned it into a medieval fantasy RPG. Which is exactly what they did. Everything felt atmospheric. Everything felt real. Like from the shaking of the trees and the wind, even when he keeps saying the wind's howling. It all, when you started the game to when you finished it, it felt like you had blinkers on. Like you were just completely tractor beamed the whole time. You knew the characters' names. You knew how they played. You knew how you played. You knew if you were coming up against a monster that was too tough for you. And the biggest thing for me was the sense of isolation in certain areas of that game. When you were out on the cliffs overlooking over the ocean somewhere in Skellige or wherever, and you're fighting a hag or a witch or something, you're alone, and I felt that, and you feel the sense of adventure and isolation and solitude, and I absolutely loved that, and I loved just being on the horse and riding around and being like, oh, I found this thing. And there was one point where I was riding along, and you looked over the side, and there was this beached whale that had been killed, and there was drowners all over
I remember
it.
that. Yeah.
And then you know the thing that you saw, which was like the Northern Lights whale that was in the sky that I never saw.
To this day, I can't find anybody else who's seen that.
Because I was with you when I saw it.
Yeah.
And I loved that thing of a game being so big that people just had completely different experiences and found things that weren't necessarily there, main story quests, but you know, I just had such a great time. And I remember just when it ended, I just felt lost.
Yeah.
Lost. Oh, and that to me is a sign of a great game.
Yeah. That's cool.
Next for me, Final Fantasy 7.
Yep.
I was like, I couldn't be much older than 10 or 12, 10, 12 years old. 10, 11 years old. and a friend of mine had it, and I had no idea what was going on. I had no concept of turn-based games. Nothing was happening when I was spamming the buttons. And then when I sat down with my friend, and he kind of went, "Oh, this is how it works, and this is what you do," and and we were sitting there and we were playing it, and then I just like, I've got to get this for myself.
Yeah.
And I begged for my mum to get it for me.
Wow, really?
And I got it, and I remember sitting down in front of it and just being like, right, focus. And it was the first time as a child being like, I'm gonna read everything. I'm gonna focus on everything. I'm gonna figure this out.
Yeah.
And I've never had such discipline ever since. But it was a game that, you know, you felt feelings, you know, you really invested and cared, and it was the first 3D one after Final Fantasy 6, which was still, you know, 8-bit.
Yeah.
And it was the music, the emotion, the story, the characters. You played it differently. People had different preferences for different material. And, you know, you could grind if you wanted to get good. You run around and you grind.
Yeah.
And that was such a concept for me.
Yeah.
It taught me patience, man.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's where, like, Final Fantasy was where I learned about grinding. So other open world games now where, you know, it's beneficial to build up XP, I've got no problem staying in a particular spot. Just
getting it done.
Just grinding away for hours. Like, you know.
I love that. It just, you know, and then when the remakes came out, all those old feelings came back, and the nostalgia kicked in, and the music's been redone, and changed everything. So that was that.
Okay, cool.
I'm a fan.
All right, give us the next one.
Resident Evil 2, the original.
Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2. Again, it might have just been at a time in my life where
that's controversial.
Is that controversial?
I feel that's controversial.
Oh, as opposed to Resident Evil 1?
As opposed to Resident Evil 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that we had this conversation before.
We did, yeah.
And the thing about Resident Evil 1, it's the same thing I had with Devil May Cry and a lot of those games where there's no people, there's no stakes, there's no, like, where is everyone? What does this do? What does the facility look like?
Right.
And that does make it eerie when there's no one there. What happened to this place? Where is everyone? I get that totally. You know, the classic, we get there, the power's out, find a generator, turn the power on. Like the vintage missions of always finding some fucking generator.
Yeah.
I get that. But for some reason, I played it and I finished it and it was cool. For some reason, Resident Evil 2 being amidst the chaos. And, you know, you're not some Billy badass. You're a rookie cop that has no concept of what's going on, and he's just trying to survive, trying to do the right thing, and being caught up in it.
Yeah.
And for me, that was so intriguing and so interesting that you can almost put yourself in his shoes. You know, if that was me, what would I do? As opposed to, I'm a member of a STARS team with a hand cannon.
Yeah.
That can, you know, blow everything away. I really loved Resi 2 because it was chaos.
Yeah.
And there were people, and as much as there was no one in the police station, there were a few, you know, you had people in there. I'm not saying it was like crowds.
Yeah.
But it just had more of a initial impact on the world.
Right, I see.
You know, because the amount of times we've played games, whether it's DMC or DMC Devil May Cry, where you're running around and no one's there and it's absolutely silent, but you're running through cities and towns.
Yeah, no, I see your point.
And I'm like, whereas Resi 2, you know, with the hands coming through the boards, because there's people out in the street that have been turned, going outside, the helicopter crash. And then when the remake came in, I was in nirvana.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you see the people turning, running through the city streets, running through the back alleys, getting to the police station, the police chief and what he's like, the gun owner, the gun shop owner. You saw these people, normal people, reacting to this chaos.
Yeah, I see that.
And that was just amazing to me. And I loved Leon as a character before he became this, like,
just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah, before he became this roundhouse kicking zombie slayer in Resi 6.
Yeah.
It was great. Same in Resi 4, in fact.
Yeah.
But it was really cool, and I just remember it having such a profound effect on me that I could remember, if I open this door, those zombies are going to come through, and the sound of the music going dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
And just the awful animations of them talking to each other, where it was just like these like pivoting on the spot. Hands in that cup holder fashion.
Yeah.
But it's so near and dear to my heart. Resident Evil 2 for me.
That's fair.
Was so much fun, and it really taught me. That was my first survival horror. Well, no, Resi 1 was my first survival horror, but Resi 2 was my first one where I was like, this is great. I think what put me off Resi 1 actually was that live action nonsense at the beginning. Even as a young child, I was like, wow, this is hammy. And I was just like, this is, whoa.
I mean, it was, I don't know, for me, it was so cheesy that I just accepted it. I was like, okay, fine, yeah.
I think I played the director's cut as well, which I enjoyed. But just, I don't know, that Resi 2 was for me the big one.
Okay.
My other favourite, so this is where it gets a bit hard for me, because... Yeah, it gets hard for me, because I like Uncharted 2.
Yeah?
Uncharted 2 for me, story-wise, and it was the first time...
2, wow.
It was the first time where you had this, like... Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favourite film of all time.
Yeah.
And
it's a great film.
This was the closest I'd got to a Indiana Jones sequel outside of In the Crystal Skull, which we don't talk about. So
Sorry, what was that?
It was the closest thing I'd come to like a true travel journey, global adventure with supernatural elements that was kind of the Maverick Rogue gunfighter, but it wasn't mired in It wasn't mired in like real world. It was like they had the supernatural elements. The first one had the Nazi U-boats and the ghouls that were in it, and then the second one had those like they're like Yeti kind of things. And I loved it. I loved all that, and I loved the discovery. I think that's why the remakes of the Tomb Raider games, tried something very, very similar. But I felt like they took themselves really seriously. I enjoyed it, and I'm even playing Rise of the Tomb Raider now. Shadow of the Tomb Raider now. But there was something about Nathan Drake. The train sequence, which was amazing at the time. I remember watching the trailer at work and like just being like, this is everything I want in a game. The story,
the cinematic set pieces, they don't pull any punches. That I do have to say that about Uncharted. Like, they don't fuck around.
They don't, and I love that when you're hanging in an Apache helicopter comes up and tries to shoot you, and then that evolution of that series to Uncharted 4, which Neil Druckmann, he did, but with The Last of Us as well, was beautiful, and it was deep, and the story was great, and I just felt like they really set the pace for a lot of games.
Okay.
And I feel like Uncharted 2 was just such a balls to the wall, entertaining experience for me. It wasn't trying to teach me anything. It wasn't trying to like show me any darkness. It was just like, here's a crazy romp, go on it and have a good time. And that really it opened it up for me.
Can I just ask you, do you feel as though that Uncharted 3 was as crazy, or do you feel it was a bit more tame in with because it's interesting that you chose 2 over 3. I can understand why you chose 2 over 1. 2 over 3. Or even 2 over 4 in a sense,
A lot of people, I mean, 2 over 4 is a big one. Again, I think it's the time when I played it.
Right.
Because at the time, Uncharted 1 was a PS3 release.
Right.
Opening release.
Yeah.
And then, so they were still trying to find their legs, and it had potential, but it was a bit gammy in certain areas. Then Uncharted 2, and it just, like, the opening sequence of that was just the best. I mean, even J.J. Abrams turned around and said it was the best opening sequence of any medium. Across any medium.
Jesus, wow.
And
to have your boy JJ say
that. Dude. And this was the thing. The reason I think it was at the time, it was so new to me personally. That it had such a profound effect. That after that, I knew what they could do, and I think it kind of rounded the edges off a little bit for me. It didn't have such an impact. Because you're like, okay, what are they going to do next? As opposed to, I don't know. Uncharted 1 was good, but Uncharted 2, this should be fun. And then Uncharted 3, in my opinion, wasn't great. It was a good fun game that falling out of the airplane sequence was great, which I can't help but feel like Mission Impossible taking things from, and that was really cool, and the desert sequences and all that was stuff. But I feel like the end of it was it fizzled. Right. The end of Uncharted 3 didn't have a big bang. It didn't go out in the way that Uncharted 2 did. And I felt like maybe the set pieces weren't as monumental as Uncharted 2. I don't know, maybe they were like, what can we do next? Well, we can do this and this, but it never quite felt the same. Yeah. Uncharted 4 was a very different game.
Yeah?
Uncharted 4 was a lot darker.
It was, actually.
It was a lot dark. Druckmann.
Yeah. Yep. Makes sense.
It was a lot darker.
Yeah.
It was, the brotherly love thing. It was beautiful.
There's a lot of backstory in there.
A lot more kind of like high ledges and climbing.
Yeah.
But it was a lot more backstory, a lot more getting to know the people. And it felt a lot more dangerous. It felt a lot more. You felt the blows as much. You didn't feel as much in Uncharted 2 as you did in this. It just felt different. I loved Uncharted 4. I loved it, but I don't know. It just didn't still have that kind of Indiana fun. To me, that Uncharted 2 did.
Okay.
So, Uncharted 2. Sorry, I really went off tangent.
No, not at all.
Now, this last one was hard.
Right. Why was it hard?
It was hard because there are so many games that I keep coming back to and so many people telling me, oh, well, it's got to be this or it's got to be that.
Right.
And I was so torn between The Last of Us with its storytelling. Right. Mechanically, it doesn't rewrite the book. Story-wise, I mean, having a game make me so emotional was amazing.
Yeah.
But I really dug deep.
Okay. Oh gosh, I feel like I should get ready for this.
And I felt like Mass Effect 2.
Wait. Mass Effect 2?
Really, there was something about that game. I mean, I knew you really loved that game, but you've put it in the same sentence as The Last of Us and chose Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect.
It's hard because Mass Effect 3, the ending of that was so controversial and just not okay.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 2, that kind of sci-fi opera romp shooter. I just have such fond memories of it.
Right.
And I was trying to think of other games, and like everyone was like, well, it's obviously The Last of Us because you just go on about it all the time. And I do, and I've played that game a lot.
It's like me and Street Fighter.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone just assumes it's going to be The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Because I like Naughty Dog. I like the game. I like the games they produce.
Yeah. They are all good games. Then they all.
Yeah, and that's why word is they're doing some sort of sci-fi game next.
I'm looking forward to that. I did hear that as well.
My God.
Yeah, but
anyway,
I can only imagine. But sorry. No,
so I'm going to say Mass Effect. I'm going to be controversial and pick an EA title.
We're going to have words, mate. We're going to have words.
The intro to these games, they were like space operas, and it was the game. I was waiting for Star Wars to do something like this, and I just loved it. I loved the RPG element. It kind of did remind me of the old Knights of the Republic, Knights of the Old Republic games, the good old days of Dragon Age.
Yeah.
And I just loved those games where you felt like you were watching something really cool unfold.
Yeah.
And then the firefights and the everything, all of it, and having the Normandy and being on the Normandy and being the cat, just the whole thing. And it took me a minute, and I really had to sit down and really reflect.
Yes.
On what I felt, and I felt like I didn't want to say The Last of Us because I felt like it was almost too easy.
Yeah, I can understand that, and considering the next one is coming out. In a few days.
5 days.
Yeah, it will be very easy to be very biased and Last of Us all day long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I can understand where you're coming from.
Honourable mentions, Last of Us.
Okay, so
So honorable mentions.
You sure? Like, do you want to think about it for a
second? Last of Us 100% gets an honorable mention. God of War 100% gets an honorable mention.
God of War, yeah.
God of War was a phenomenal game, and I absolutely loved it. It was a beautiful game.
Yeah,
action packed. Please do. It's gorgeous, and it was heavy, and
you can't not have fun with that game.
Oh man,
and it challenges you as well, but not so much in a way that you feel like I just can't do this.
No.
It's fun, challenging, and you just want to do it.
Zelda and Majora's Mask.
Didn't do that one.
That one was big for me. Ocarina of Time, obviously. Breath of Fire, that series. These games all kind of were so important coming up. And Final Fantasy X was massive for me. There are so many, but I felt like those 5 were the games personally that made me go, wow, okay,
that's cool, man.
That's me.
Yeah, that's
I loved
cool.
it.
Live your truth.
Live your truth, innit? Anyway,
that's good. I feel like those are some really good, solid, some solid mentions there.
Some people are going to turn around and go, what about this game? I'm like, what about this game? Because I really tried to think back along the timeline of games.
Yeah.
And there's just so many. And
there's so many. Yeah, it's true. I mean, we're kind of sport for choice at this point, but it's like...
Dino Crisis.
Oh, gosh.
Dino Crisis.
He's got more.
No, Dino Crisis is definitely... See, this is what I'm saying. Like, they just pop into your head. Dino Crisis definitely gets top of the honorable mention list. For sure. Last of Us, Dino Crisis.
Are we just doing a new list right now?
That was I have to say Dino Crisis. I can't not say Dino Crisis.
Right.
So that's in my honorable mentions. Anyway.
Okay. All right. That's cool. But like I say, yeah, good mentions all the way around, and I feel as though, yeah, they were different lists, but would you say it's clear that, what kind of games, or rather what we kind of look for in a game when we're playing it? Like what you look for, what I look for.
From our top 5?
From our top 5s. Would you say that's discernible?
I think so. I certainly do. You've got some classics, right? I think it shows that our mine are a little bit newer. And also, like in terms of you've got the classics.
Yeah.
Where mine sit around the PS2, PS3 era.
Yeah.
I said Final Fantasy 7, that was PS1.
Bearing in mind, I did mention The Witcher 3 as well.
True.
Yeah.
Mine are all kind of like... Mine are heavily story-driven.
Yeah.
Heavily.
Yeah.
Witcher, Uncharted, Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, Mass Effect. They're all quite story-driven. Whether that... Do you know what? Now it's...
Have you just thought of another one? Oh, jeez.
Okay. Top 3 honorable mentions. Dino Crisis.
Right.
Last of Us. Silent Hill 2. Done. That's it.
Are you sure?
No more changing.
Are you sure?
No more changes. No more changes.
You don't want to take a second and come back.
No. That's it. They're the 3.
I feel as though that I need to think of a quick 3 honorable mentions list now, but I don't.
They're the 3. They're the 3. Silent Hill, Dino Crisis, Last of Us.
Oh my god.
Done.
Done. Sorted. Right. Well, for me, it's going to be God of War, PT.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, but no, I'm done.
And I can't think of a third, so, maybe you guys can make some suggestions for me.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll, and I'll change it, but I'm a big, like I said, survival horror with Dino Crisis and Silent Hill and Resident Evil. Yeah, I'm a big survival horror fan, and I love a good romp. So yeah, I think it shows our difference in gaming.
I'm surprised that you didn't even mention Persona.
Do you know what? No, Persona wouldn't make it into that list.
Wow. Right.
I don't think I like Persona. I love Persona.
Because you were all over Persona 5 at one point.
I do like Persona 5. Yeah, I really am a big fan. But no, I don't know that would be top 10.
Okay, fair dues.
No, I don't think that'd even be top 10. After the 3 I've already got, that's 8. Survival horror, big survival horror fan in a major way, and I do love a good big scale adventure. Yeah, we'll have to come up with a few more lists. I think
so. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to revisit this topic.
Yeah, for sure.
And just flesh it out some.
So we're gonna hit that time. We're gonna head to that place.
Oh, we're going now.
We're going. I've had enough, bro.
Yeah, I've had enough, bro. We're gonna chill out.
We're gonna go chill out. We're gonna get our favourite stall. Get
Who's behind the bar?
Chill out. Susan's working today.
Susan. Hey Susan, how you doing?
Yeah, and you got Eddie in the corner. He's doing his thing, playing the piano, hitting it hard. And today we're going to talk about someone very special.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Actually, do you know what? Do you want to go or shall I go? It's 2 for 2. I've done my 2.
I feel like I don't. You go.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I don't have one. Like, if I was trying to think of it all episode. Actually, I was like, oh shit.
Okay, no, I'm thinking. Claire Redfield.
Claire Redfield.
Claire Redfield sits at the bar, red jacket, motorcycle helmet on the side.
Right.
What's she drinking?
Blueberry daiquiri.
Why?
Why?
Are you just thinking weird shit?
I'm not thinking weird shit. I feel as though that as much
blueberry daiquiri.
Blueberry daiquiri. I feel as though as much as she wants to be tough and badass, and she is. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but
I saw those things. She's amazing.
Yeah, but she's got a.
I do not see her ordering a blueberry daiquiri.
She's got a creature comforts, mate. Yeah, she's getting a blueberry daiquiri.
Oh my god.
All right. What would you? What I mean, I don't know. Like,
look, I mean,
what would you?
As a cocktail?
Yeah. There you see.
Nah, no, but I know, but you've come out so strong with like a bizarre one. It's hard to come up with one. Yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
You got me. I can't think of anything that's up on a blueberry daiquiri, you know?
I mean, what could we look at? What?
Flaming Lamborghini.
Flaming Lamborghini?
No, I'm joking.
You're going to try and top my blueberry daiquiri with...
Flaming Lamborghini. No, I don't know. That's a really, really good point. I don't see... She's not a beer person.
Definitely not.
No.
She's not a beer person. She's not a spirits person. I feel as though she's somebody that wants to have a good laugh. But she's a responsible person as well. Right?
Yeah.
Hence her story. But when all that's done, she wants to just go back to living her life. Living her truth.
You know. Okay. All right. You got me. You got me. I got nothing. I can't say anything. Right. Well, that's it.
That was great.
Thank you for listening to our 10th episode. This is a huge moment for us.
Yes, it is.
We really, really do appreciate it. And I know I say a lot of it to the people that I know,
mm-hmm.
but we do really appreciate you guys taking the time out and hanging out with us and listening. It's amazing, and we're having such a good time doing it, and we want to keep doing it. So thank you so much.
We want to keep doing it because you guys are listening to us as well, and it's fun for us, you know.
Yeah, oh man, I love it. So as always, we're on Instagram at tonesandthebiz. We're on Twitter at tonesandthebiz.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us on Spotify and iTunes and everywhere else that gets decent podcasts.
Yes.
We are no longer on SoundCloud. So
we're not on SoundCloud.
Don't go there.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on YouTube as always. And as always, no douchebag policy. So please be nice.
Yes, keep it classy in the comments.
Keep it classy.
Yeah.
And like I said, as always,
mm-hmm.
If you can think of any characters you think you'd like to see at the Jazz Barcade,
feel free to hit us up.
And we will try our best.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for listening again.
Thank you, guys.
Have an amazing week and enjoy Last of Us. Next week we'll be talking about it.
Yes.
Enjoy Last of Us. It comes out on Friday. Cheers.
Take care, guys.